Champion, how you doing? Welcome back in our weekly get together. And today's topic is really a follow-up of what we discussed last week. If you haven't listened to it, highly recommend it. And really, today's topic is it's how to impact our past so we can amplify our future. Again, it's how to impact our past so we can amplify our future, right? And I know it's kind of really, you're thinking, oh, yes, it's really about impacting our past. How we can impact our past, we can. And really, it's something I'm going to share today, and stay tuned. So it's really what I'm talking about is really leveraging the power of a practice that's been done in all cultures, all the masters have done, and it's a practice of forgiveness, right? And I hope you hear me here out, because I'm going to share a perspective that I really hope makes sense and will really help you. Yes, and that's really when you think about it, it's a practice that's been taught in all culture, in all traditions, right? And I really took a moment to go back and think about that. So to forgive. When I say that, I hope your mind doesn't shut down and say, hey, Saul, I know what you're talking about. But so today, the next 10-15 minutes we're going to spend, I really hope that at the end, you really will agree with me that we can impact our past. And that's really my goal here. What do I mean by that? So if you look at the root cause of to forgive, I was thinking about it. It comes from, really, if you think about it, to forgive is what? Is really to give our perception for a better for another perception. So in a way, it's exchange or it's give for, right? It's giving a perception that we have for another one. So we're exchanging it. And I kind of went further, and when you think about it, isn't forgiveness a redemption? It's really to redeem, right? Through forgiveness, what we're doing, we're redeeming ourselves, right? For the new us, right? So there are two levels of forgiveness, right? And I'll touch on that, but stay tuned. So I was thinking about it really. So when we forgive, we redeem, right? So what do redeem mean? It's to buy back, right? Does it make sense? So to redeem, like you look at, right, even the bottle, right, the 5 cents and all that. When we redeem those bottles, what are we doing? We buying back, right? So in a way, when we forgive, we're getting back our wholeness, right? Because let's think about it. Why do we need to be forgiving, right? Why is forgiveness needed? Because of a feeling of being hurt, right? Or a feeling of disappointment when you talk about self. Why, right? So in a way, why is forgiveness being used is because an incident happened, right? Someone is hurt. We are hurt, right? By someone, right? And we can go to a disappointment part. But most of the time, why is that feeling needed is because we are feeling hurt, right? Or we are feeling disappointed on ourselves by something that we're expecting that didn't happen, right? Or we're expecting something from someone and that didn't happen, right? And that's really how we get hurt. As we get hurt, right, we get stuck in that energy. And that's what I want to address here. When we get stuck in that energy, it's really hard to move, right? And that's what I want to discuss here. And that's why forgiveness is needed. Because we want to get out of that energy. We don't want to forgive. It's not. So when we forgive, let's think about it. We want to forgive for ourselves, not even for the person or the event we're forgiving. And that's what I want to bring up here. And I remember, I grew up in Central Africa, actually, even if I wasn't from there. There is a snake called green mamba, right? You might have heard about a black mamba. But the green mamba is one of the most poisonous snake that ever exists. And when they bite you, the venom is so venomous that if it's not taken care of within 30 to 1 hour, people can die, right? And I grew up in a forest, like it's like Amazon. Basically, it's by the equator, right? So it's a venomous, very, very dangerous snake. I remember growing up fearing that snake. So the green mamba. The reason I'm bringing that up is why? Because it's not the snake bite that really kills people. It's a venom, right? So the green mamba bite doesn't kill, but what kills is a venom that goes through the blood, because it goes there and activates our lungs, our ability to breathe, and all that. Why am I saying that? Forgiveness is the same thing. So if you can think about it, an event happened, we feel hurt, we feel victim. That event doesn't really hurt us. But what hurt us is us holding to that energy, to that moment, to the interpretation we're having. Am I making sense? So really, it's a venom that kills. Similarly, when we are disappointed, we are hurt, it's us holding to that energy that really, killed us. Am I making sense? So it's really that, right? Us holding to that event, or that person is bad, that person is this, I will never forgive, blah, blah, blah. What's happening? Really, what's happening is us holding to that energy that's really hurting ourselves. So how do we change our past? Right? You're saying, how can you change your past then? Right. We cannot change the bite. We cannot change what happened. But you know what? What we can change? We can change our relationship to what happened. Again, I'm going to repeat that again. We can change our relationship to what happened. Right? So similarly, the snake bite, we cannot change it. But what we can do is stop the venom, right? So in a way, if a snake bite me here, I can stop it right here, right? So that it doesn't go all the way from my heart, right? It's the same thing. An event happened, we feel victimized, right? Whatever happened, happened. But our interpretation of us being stuck in that energy is a choice, right? And I don't mean to offend here, but it really, if you think about it, right, we can be hurt, right? We can be bleeding, but us focusing on keeping that energy that, yes, I'm hurt, really it's something that we're still keeping that can really, really impact ourselves, right? So us sticking into that energy is really, really what really make us stuck, right? Because why? We're focusing on us being victim, right? So again, we cannot change what happened, but we can change our relationship to what happened, right? So as we change our relationship to what happened, we're changing the energy around. As we change energy around, we're changing our relationship to the past. And as we change our relationship to the past, we're changing our relationship to the future. And that's what that really means, right? If that makes sense. So as we change your relationship to the past, right, we change our relationship to the future. So really, and that's why we really want to forgive. Why? So really, it's a daily practice, right? And you can think about it, all tradition really talk about that. All masters talk about that. So it's really a daily practice that we want to really work on in such a way that, we work on it. So what do I want to forgive today? Right? Am I making sense? So what is that I want to forgive today? Right? And why is that? Again, as we change our relationship to what happened, we change our relationship to our past. And as we change our relationship to our past, we change our relationship to a future, right? So I hope that makes sense. So let's be practical right now, right? We're in a relationship, all of us, right? As we are human, it can be work relationship, it can be anything. But that betrayal, there are things that happen, and that's really what we, that's part of a relationship that we have. Or even looking at selves, right? We can feel hurt and disappointed about something we really wanted and it didn't happen, right? So the feeling of being hurt, of being disappointed, having resentment is a feeling that we have, right? We all have, right? So let's think about one event where you feel resentment with one person, right? So let's make this a relationship, right? A work session here right now, if you want to humor me, right? For example, I can tell about the story, right? One was basically, I was in a relationship, by then, and my fiance at that time, my wife, and basically she went and kind of told one of my good friend that I wasn't helping her, right? And my friend even turned around and trying to help. So I felt hurt, right? So it's something that I held on for a while because I felt betrayed, right? I was like, I love you both, and you went and talked around my back. So it's something that really I felt hurt by. But what I did, I forgave the situation, right? I couldn't change what happened. But what I changed actually is the relationship I had with that event. Why? Not because of what happened, whatever. It's because of myself, because I hold on to that energy. And all the time I went to that energy, I felt victim. I felt betrayed, right? So anytime I went to that zip code, I felt it, but that wouldn't help me. So what I did, I changed my relationship to that event. Well, how did I do that? I created a new meaning to the event, right? It's like maybe I knew it wasn't her intention. I knew it wasn't my friend's intention, right? So that's how really I want to say. I said I knew they had the best intention. So that's why I released it, right? So what was the person's intent, right? It doesn't matter really whatever it is, but really it's about changing that relationship. So let's think about it. Is there anything that you had from your past that's holding you strongly, right? Let's take a deep breath, right? So let's really do the homework. So I hope you find that event that hurt, anything like that. When you go back to that event, is there a possibility that the person had a different intent, right? Because ultimately we all have a good intent, right? The reason one person wants to hurt someone is literally at the end is because we want to self-preserve or do something, right? So ultimately we all have good intent, right? So ask yourself that question: what good could have come from that experience, right? Again, what good could have come from that experience that happened to you? That's the ultimate question, right? Or my favorite is, what capacity am I called to grow in this experience, right? What capacity am I supposed to develop through this event? Am I making sense? Because if you think about it, think about a seed, right, being planted, right, under the ground. That seed had to go, and break through, right, the ground. And while it's breaking through, it's rooting itself, right, underground with its roots, right? So if you think about it, that's the way I look at it. So any resistance, any challenges we've had, I truly believe that there is a capacity that we need to develop, right? Look at that beautiful sun. And the sun agrees with me right here, right? But literally, I really hope, you can heal me and fear me. So if you can ask yourself, go back to that event, what capacity am I to grow right through that event, right? So mine, when I asked myself that question through that event, was basically letting go, right? Letting go. Mine was letting go. People have their own beliefs, but I knew my intent has never been to hurt, right? So that's really how one of the things we can, forgive, right? So giving, right? So this is why it's coming 360. So as you forgive, what's happening? You're buying back your wholeness, right? As you forgive, you're buying back who you are fully. Am I making sense? That's how you redeem yourself. You're buying back what you have lost. Why? This is why I'm really coming from my heart. Because this is what's happening. When we're feeling hurt, we're feeling victim, we are feeling less than, right? Because why? Because if we knew that we are whole no matter what, we will not be hurt, we will not be offended, right? So as we redeem, we're buying back our wholeness. We're buying back who we can be. We're buying back, we're not dragging that energy, right, of being victim. Because as we feel victim, we're saying there is something bigger than us. Am I making sense? So when we forgive, we're letting go that energy. We're letting go that energy. We're letting go that bad energy. So in a way, we're buying back who we are, right? So that's really what I really want to share here. As we forgive, we are redeeming ourselves, right? Regardless of a religion you believe, right? We talk redemption, right? It's even close to resurrection in a way, right? Resurrecting who we are, resurrecting our fullness, right? Why? Because we're claiming who we are. We're claiming the greater us. Am I making sense? So really, that's why I really want to get closer today. Because forgiveness, and I really want you to feel what I'm sharing. Because I really hope that I kind of really explain what I really want to do. Because as we forgive, we're buying back who we are. We're buying back our wholeness, right? As we forgive, we change the relationship in our past and we create a new relationship. As we are full, we are looking forward, we're creating a new future. And as you create a new future, we can amplify ourselves. All right? So I'm really curious, and hopefully you went through that exercise. If you can put your comment out there, what did you forgive? What did you forgive? I promise you, my friend, I have been practicing. And this is something we should do on a daily basis, like every day or every week. What should I forgive this week? Why? Because as we are in a relationship with human, things happen. So being aware and cleansing it is a powerful practice, right? And it's something I really added in my practice, and it's really changed a lot in my own life. And I hope this serves you, and I hope you can leverage that, right? So hopefully you can redeem ourselves, and as we redeem ourselves, we can change our future. All right. And next week I'm really excited because we're gonna leverage that and talk about another powerful feeling that can stop you, right? And we don't want that. And it's feelings building on fear and all. How we can leverage ourselves, right? So again, how do you impact your past, right? And the reason I'm talking about past because forgiveness is something that happened in the past, and it's one of the most devastating feelings that all of us hold on to, right? Because the feeling of hurt, feeling of guilt, feeling of disappointment, all those, if you apply forgiveness, you can really move on, right? And there is also self-forgiveness I want to talk about. Just, I know I'm almost done here, but self-forgiveness is a powerful practice too, right? I just thought about it because guilt is also something in the past. We can feel guilt, right? Guilt is related to ourselves. Our expectation didn't get met, right? It's not a hurt, but it's personal. So let's take a deep breath. How do we release guilt? We forgive ourselves, yes. If we release ourselves. And that's a simple, same practice. Is basically, I am sorry. Acknowledging that we are sorry, right? We are not perfect, right? I forgive myself, right? Why? Because I didn't know better, right? That's the guilt, what it is. Because we all have good intent, but we're forgiving ourselves, right? It's because we didn't know better, right? And it's always good to bring it back to, gratitude in a thank you note, right? Right, I'm sorry. Basically, it's a younger us, right? The younger us, the younger you didn't know better. That's why you felt guilty, right? So in a way, it's, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to blame you. And I love you, right? And there is a beautiful practice actually that's called Ho'oponopono that's kind of leveraged that. But I've thought about it actually doing this, and it's funny, and I came back to that practice, right? So really think about it. When you have a feeling of guilt, right, you can use that. It's very simple. It's, I'm sorry, I didn't know any better, right? So it's basically acknowledging that now we are wiser, right? And really, I didn't know better, so I'm sorry. It's like literally when you're talking to someone, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know better, right? You see, the sun is coming, guys. The sun is agreeing with me, right? So really, I hope that helps you. And please share, and let's take it to the next level, right? So next week I'm excited, and you can tune in and feel free to share. I hope this serves you, my friend. All right, talk to you later. Cheers. Bye.